A knee specialist. A one-trick pony, right? Not at the Christ Hospital Health Network. We have integrated specialists for every area of orthopedic surgery, like perfecting your golf swing again, night strolls with your partner, or walking your daughter down the aisle. Everything it takes to get your life back. We specialize in that too. The Christ Hospital Health Network, everything it takes.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 792, Diet Starts Monday with Ashley Dawn.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I am Amanda Valentine. Joining me again, I don't even remember how many times this has been now. Maybe like 4? Ashley? How many times have you been on this podcast?
I've been on here a lot because the one time a couple of years ago, I was like, I'm going to lose a bunch of weight. And then I hid from you forever because I didn't lose it. I'll never forget that one. But then I was able to come on and be like, yay, I did it. I'm doing well. And I've been on, I think, with Natalie Jones a time or two with you. So, yeah, I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, so we're both like having a conversation about having a fresh start here, which I kind of talked about in a previous episode from a couple weeks ago, if anybody is listening to these. And I can't think of the word, whatever, the order that they're released in.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So you've been talking about this for a while. Me too.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, but when we were in totally different places, you were getting ready for your wedding. And so, I mean, we've gone back and forth. Like you said, we're on the first time a couple of years ago. It might have been 2019, maybe you were on the first time talking about like wanting to lose weight and lose 30 pounds. And then you did. And so that was probably 2020 or just beginning of 2021 when you were doing your diet shake thing that you were doing there for a minute.
Oh yeah. I guess that was 2020, I think.
Okay. And then you trained with me at the gym for a minute. And
I've done a lot. I do a lot of things. Eat a lot of pizza, get on a lot of diet merry-go-rounds. Oh, I have dogs that are barking.
That's awesome.
That's classy.
Oh, you're good. And so then, getting ready for the wedding. Well, we're about to talk about this too, because we're both restarting what we do with working with Sarah as our health coach, she's been a coach of both of ours before. I took a little break while I'm going through some hard life crap. And then I know that you've taken a break and I
took a break because I saw total success with Sarah and I'm like, oh, I got this. I can do it on my own. And that was I think it was in December where I was like, all right, I'll just do my own thing. I understand. And for a long while, I was doing great, killing it. And then I was like, okay, I really got to focus. I'm getting married, not that I wanted to be skinny for my wedding, but I want to like my photos, Yeah.
You want to feel confident. You just want to feel good in your own body.
Feel good and like my dress and not hate my arms, Yeah. So I really was like, all right, I got to gear back up. And then that's when I was working with Clean Eats and that was fantastic. You're obviously familiar.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what I was just there today. You were one of the people that you were eating it before I even tried it.
So good.
And yeah, oh my God, it's so good. And I'm so hyped about all the meals and stuff this week too. But I know that you were using it of just obviously planning a wedding is just so stressful. And dude, and your wedding was crazy because you lost your entire venue 1 week, or was it less than a week than your actual ceremony?
It was 1 week to the day. God. 1 week before, had to rearrange, reroute. It all worked out. But yeah, there's no way I would have had time to meal prep and replan a wedding and all of the things. And I was still going to work. I was still squeezing in workouts. Life's busy. So it was super convenient for that factor. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then, it's not been that long since you got married. It hasn't even been, it's been a couple weeks. So, and you're already it's just it's so different from, I was in a totally different headspace when I got married 1,000 years ago, but I was I was hardcore dieting all summer for my wedding dress, but I was just doing I had 0 carbs for 3 months straight. I was just eating green peppers.
I was going to say veggies.
Yeah, I was eating. Well, I did the first 2 weeks that you're supposed to do a 2-week quote unquote cleanse before you do an actual South Beach diet, which is just nothing but specifically green vegetables, lean meats, and 7 almonds or something stupid. And I didn't do it for 2 weeks. I did it for 3 months. And so I lost a crap ton of weight before the wedding. And then when the wedding hit, I just was schmammered because I didn't have beer all summer. And then I just got wasted at my wedding. And then, but it was after that, that's where I'm oh, well, I was trying to lose weight and do all this stuff for this event. So it was also kind of well, treat yourself. And then it went to gaining everything back from there and then some. So it's the wedding was the catalyst to where I gained back all of the weight that I had previously yo-yoed for years on, and then some. And that's where it got me to the point where I started what I did now, in 2012. So it was it wasn't this the wedding's over. Hey, I got to get back into a routine of I need to be healthy. And I'm I think that's awesome. That's where you're already at of oh yeah, the wedding's over, but I was doing this to live a lifestyle, not just to be quote unquote skinny for the wedding. And then I'm going to bail on it, which is exactly what I did.
Right. And I mean, it's normal. That's, I feel a lot of people are in that boat or have been in that boat. And at the wedding, people are are you going to drink at your wedding? And I'm yeah, I'm going to drink at my wedding. But it was so busy. I mean, I probably went and had 4 White Claws the entire day. So whatever. But it was after the wedding. Okay. So then there's the honeymoon and I'm okay, I want to look good in a bikini or whatever. And I feel good right now. And then once I went on the honeymoon, Nick would make a breakfast sandwich and I'm I want a second breakfast sandwich. And he's what? And I'm I'm hungry. I'm going to eat and have fun on this honeymoon, eat whatever I want, drink whatever I want. Because typically, I mean, every other vacation we've been on this year, I was trying to, eat well. I was exercising on vacation, and my honeymoon, I was just just going to do whatever I want, which was great. And I think you need that sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
So now it's okay, post honeymoon, and we didn't go to the grocery store for 4 or 5 days after we'd gotten back already. So what am I eating? Out.
DoorDash.
Charlie's. and I can tell when I'm not on my A game, obviously, and when the styrofoam to-go boxes are stocking up in the refrigerator from all of the going out to eat. So I'm just whoa. I mean, I told you, oh my gosh, I need to lose weight. And then I send you a picture the next day and I'm eating a cake pop for breakfast. My gosh. So it's I gotta rein it back in, really.
Yeah. And just
and that's why I'm excited to start back up with Sarah, because we both know she's going to get you to your goal. Well, she's going to help you get you to your goal.
Yeah, and we're working with Sarah and Team Fit with Me that I've talked about on this podcast a ton. It's just she's such good with accountability. And there's been a couple times where I've taken a break with working with her. And I've gone off the rails because of life crap. And this one's been the worst one. And so that's where I started working with her. She's been on this podcast and she has a long backstory from years ago. And then in 2020, I was having a really rough time from transitioning of leaving my radio career and then COVID and everything else. And I went on antidepressants and everything just turned gray. And I'm this is really scary. And I'm hey, I need your help. I know what I'm doing with health and fitness and wellness, and I know how to take care of myself, but I'm not right now. And so I started coaching with her. It was fantastic. Last year, I was feeling banging. I was feeling amazing. Yes. Was I the skinniest I ever was? No, and it didn't matter. I felt really good and confident and awesome in my body. And then this year has just been bonkers.
Because you're on the other end of it.
Yeah, I mean, well, because I've spent this year going through a divorce. So and that's been really intense. And that's one of those things where it's very deep-seated coping mechanism is food. And that's where it's like, I don't want to just get drunk, which I did at your wedding, which I will say because I was a bridesmaid in your wedding, I tried to leave. I'm like, I'm going to leave. I can drive. I'm fine.
Yeah,
it's good.
another bridesmaid sucked you back in.
Yeah. And then she's like, no, you got to stay out. What are you doing? And then, that turned out bad. And so I'm like, I can't choose like alcohol to like numb out and tap out. I've been really trying to like feel my feelings and all that fun stuff,
Yes,
which really
good for you.
sucks and it's hard. But it's also like, I know that, I also really like go to food for comfort. And so it's not been the worst thing I've never gone back to like where I used to be.
Yeah,
I never
that's
gone
what
back.
I've been saying to myself too. Like, even though the past couple of weeks have been a little crazy, eating whatever I want, doing whatever I want, I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I'm not, pushing 200 pounds like I was 3 years ago, but that's not the right mentality to have either. Like, we know when to like rein it back in.
Exactly. That's where it's like, for me, I'm like, I just know I need to get on the other side and get a good headspace. And that's where, I told Sarah, like, it's just been, maybe now it's been a month or so that I haven't done check-ins and stuff. I was just like, listen, where my head's at right now, counting macros and stepping on a scale once a week is not good for me mentally. You know what I mean? So it's like, I know that about me of like, sure, am I, which is amazing to have clean eats in my life because it's so awesome to have that space and the freedom of not having to meal prep, because I really, really love meal prep. I obviously did it for a decade. But it was getting to the point, because of everything else going on in my life, it was no longer fun. It was no longer the thing. It was just like another thing piled on.
Like
it
work.
It was making it
on your
making
Sunday.
it.
Ew, nobody likes working on Sunday.
Right? And so like having clean eats has been awesome. But my problem is like, I'll be good all during the day, or quote unquote good, but like I'll be drinking my water and like feeling good. And then it's the nighttime when I'm like, then I can sit and not be distracted by work and everything else. And I'm in my emotions where I'm like, I just want to eat something to feel better. And not that I'm going into like these binges to numb out, which is again, where I have been a lot of times in my life, where I feel proud of myself for not going into these like chaotic, uncontrolled, I'm not in my own body binge, but still just like, not caring at all, of like knowing that I'm like, this is not the best decision for me to like eat a pint of ice cream. And I'm like, I don't care if this is what I have to do to survive this and like get through this like period of my life. It's what I have to do. But by doing that, I also just feel really gross in my own body. Like, I just don't feel, I see pictures and videos of myself. I'm like, that doesn't even look like me anymore. I don't feel like that looks like me. I don't have like a lot of stress. I feel like I've aged 10 years in this past year, but it's like, I feel like, I'm like, I know I'm not feeding myself the best things possible. Like, I am to a degree, and then I'm skewing off, and I'm like, I have somebody to hold me accountable, and I told her to like go away for a minute so I could sit here and just kind of wallow in my crap. And I'm like, yeah, I can't keep doing this. And I knew that like once I get to a better space of mental clarity, I'd be able to pick this back up again. And that's where I'm like, okay, that's where I'm here now. And it's just like the perfect timing that you're like, yeah, me too. Like, we're like, I'm going to get Sarah back and we're going to do this.
At it. There's no reason for me to go any further into a hole. And it's so terrible because you mentioned like, maybe eating a pint of ice cream, and we're sitting here talking about like we're going to work on ourselves and get better. And I'm like, what flavor ice cream was it? Like, what's your go-to?
Oh man, I don't really have a go-to, I guess. I like
what?
Because I like trying different stuff all the time.
Okay. I am mint chocolate chip to the core.
See, I don't like mint chocolate chip. I didn't taste like toothpaste.
I've heard that. A lot of people do say that. So good.
I like Andes chocolates or like a York peppermint patty, but I'm like, I'm cool with like one and then I'm done. And then I try to stay away from ice cream because I will eat the entire pint. There's no same thing with me in a bag of chips. I've joked that, and this is honestly true. I've never used a chip clip. Like, if a bag of chips is going to open around me, it's not like it's going to be emptied out. And same thing with ice cream
going into the bag.
So it's just been a lot of like one of those things of like, I'm really craving a donut. I'm just going to go buy a couple of them. I'm going to eat. I'm like, and
you got to eat 2 donuts because you got to even out your butt cheeks. So one goes to one butt cheek, one goes to the other one.
Well, what sucks is that like I do this thing and I can feel myself going back into old mentalities that I've been in that I haven't had in a long time, where I'm like, ooh, this is some deep seated crap within me of like, almost that thinking of like, well, you're not going to be able to do this ever again. So you better go get after it now. Like you're not going to be like diet starts Monday. You're not going to be allowed to have donuts on Monday. So you better just go ham today. And I'm like, that's not true. I can still eat a donut on Monday. And then that's why I'm like, when I've craved donuts, I like just got whatever donut was right in front of me. Like, and even eating it, and I still finished it. I'm like, it wasn't even that good. This wasn't even a good donut. This wasn't even worth it. Yeah. And I'm like, why did I have to do that?
I'm excited that we have each other, like to restart or reboot or whatever we want to call it, because I think it's always better to have a buddy personally.
For sure. And that's why, I wanted to have this conversation on the podcast too, because I feel like I think so many people, because this is just the seasons of life, and especially if you're working on eating healthy after like lifetime or habits of not, and you use food to cope in different ways or doing like, there's just so many different layers, and so many people have different issues around health and wellness and all that other stuff of being like, this is just the realistic way. I think that, that we're handling it. This is just who we are. Not to say that everybody else has these exact same issues or relationships with food and exercise, but I think that it's helpful to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not alone in feeling this. And I feel like this is such a good time for us to have this conversation for us both. And I'm glad we just friends are both in this same headspace, because we're popping into like November, which is the time to be like, oh, who cares until January?
Exactly. But it's like, I think Sarah last year when I was working with her puts it in a great perspective of like, what is it, like 2 or 3 holidays, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's 3 days where that's where like a big meal comes in, or candy for Halloween or whatever. And she's like, just eat a little bit. You don't have to, like, it's not a holiday for the whole month of November and the whole month of December. Because there's, a ton of people, I've been there before, where it's like, well, I'm going to eat the same meal for like 5 days. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
The holiday is 1 day.
Well, and I feel like Halloween's not even that big of an issue for me. It's not the candies and stuff, but it's like, I think it's just like the comfort around just the holidays in general, where it is more of those like comforty foods of like, ooh, I want some cornbread with a butt ton of butter on it. Like, that sounds awesome.
And if somebody brings Oreo balls to work, watch out.
Right. Or use all the Christmas cookies. And that's what's what's worse about like December is December really is just like between Thanksgiving and December, it is just nothing but like food for that whole month. Like there's parties and end of the year things and all this other stuff. And that's
why I think we need to have like a strong mindset, or we're going to not necessarily hate ourselves come January 1st, but we're going to be like, damn, we've been really messing up for the last 3 months of the year. So yeah,
and I don't even say messing up. I don't even want to put that terms of just like, I guess just
trashing our bods.
Yeah, just mistreating yourself. I think that it's how I frame it now anyway, of just like, I don't feel good in my body and that sucks. And I know that if I just go ham over the next couple months, it's going to get even worse, and it's going to take me even longer to dig out of until I start feeling good again. And it's like, it's such a different mindset where I have now than I've had in the past too, where it's like, oh, I got to lose weight, and I need like even
it's not even about that.
Seeing right photos and videos and stuff of myself, which it sucks because I'm doing the national like Strong Life Challenge for the Y, which was all these video shoots, and like,
which
I'm here
is so cool.
It's super cool. It's really awesome, and I'm like really honored that they asked me to do it. But I'm like, I'm having like one of like the most crappy years ever, and I'm like, I've gained weight. I feel like I'm really stressed. I feel like I'm not even like living my own mantra right now. And then I'm watching the videos of myself, and I'm like, ugh, like it's just like, again, I'm trying not to like terrorize myself, but I can also. And it's not just like, oh, you're so fat, you have to be thinner, where that is definitely who I've been in the past. And it's just I can just see, like, maybe it's just because I'm too close to me, obviously, then I'm like, oh, sure. I can just tell that I'm not feeling my best here. And I wish that in being able to being like given this gift of being able to do this thing, that I could feel my best in these videos and like, feel happy in my own body, and I don't. And so that's really frustrating for me.
Well, especially we know that when we're eating all this crap or a pint of ice cream or me getting to-go boxes left and right, we're not treating ourselves right. So we know what headspace we're in. Yeah. Sorry about the siren. Things are crazy out here in the county. I'm sitting outside.
Well, it's crazy too because your wedding was just nothing but cops.
I know. Yeah. Wow.
There's just cops on this podcast, cops at your wedding.
I can't get away from the police. They love me. But and I'll tell you too, speaking of my wedding and cops, and like my husband Nick loves when I am in a good routine and in a good space for myself, because he benefits because I'm in a better mood. I'm nicer, like I'm happier, like to myself and nicer to myself, and he starts eating better. So it's like,
Yeah, just
like,
everything
I'm
kind of
all the
gets
time like, hey, just go to Wendy's, go pick us up something. He's like, we're eating out again, and I'm like, I'm in a bad routine right now. Yeah, we're eating out again, babe. Here's a credit card.
Well, and that's what I think is awesome about that. When you are making these healthy choices for yourself, it just like elevates everything around you. Like it's not
everything.
Yeah, it's not just like your pant size or whatever. It's like
No, I
everything
don't
just
even
feels
care
better
about
around
that.
you. Well, it's just funny to hear you say because that's not where you've always been either.
No, I'm always like, I've got to lose 15 pounds. I've got to weigh 155 pounds. That's like when I'm the happiest. And I graduated high school weighing 145. So maybe I should get around that. And I'm like, you know what? I just need to eat better to feel better, because I don't care what I look like. I look good now, but I don't feel good, you know?
So what did you find like the biggest difference with working with Sarah is then? Just like having somebody to hold you accountable, or somebody like helping you choose what to eat?
Well, she educated me, and that's why I thought I could go off and do it on my own, like last December, and like I did for a little bit, like I mentioned. And so the education piece around food and the accountability is huge, because it's really, I can sit here and tell you like, oh, I had a Charlie's, and yes, I definitely ate a brownie after I ate chicken tenders and fries, and you could be like, oh, that's, you could have made a healthier choice, but like Sarah, I'm not sure, her delivery is a little different. I'm not gonna be like, Sarah, this is not that she's gonna yell or anything like that, but I don't like failing, I guess. So I know like with her, it's a challenge, and it's a challenge for myself, and she's there to do a job to hold me accountable. And I guess it's just the accountability piece.
Yeah, and
because when there's nobody not judging but holding me to it, I'm just off the rails.
Yeah, I feel like that's so many people. And that's where I feel like I think a key thing that you said there too, which is where I'm at, because I'm obviously I'm certified and all this stuff and I know what I'm doing, but it's like you can know what you're doing until life throws these like crazy curveballs at you, and then it's like all that stuff kind of goes out the window. Just like, a global pandemic, or you have a death in the family, or you go through a divorce, or you move, or you start a new job, or you have a baby, or like there's just so many things that it's like kind of when you get bounced out of your routine, it's like you almost be like, again, you're like, I need somebody to hold me accountable to set me a new guidance for this new path and help me to figure out this way. And I mean, that's just going to be constantly life. And so it's just finding, I think, not only in this arena and Sarah, I just think that finding your people along your path anyway, your friends, your family, your coworkers, like those
your
people,
tribe.
Yeah, that are going to help you with whatever curveball life throws at you, because different people are going to come in and out of your life and help you in different ways. And that's where I just feel like, especially like since the pandemic, of how important it is to have like people and connections, and how it's more than just scrolling and doing online stuff. You kind of need to have some of these people to help you along.
But I agree with that 100%. And the people and the connection, it is so important to all of us. And that's where I find myself struggling the most, because going out to eat is like a social thing for me. Like I have a couple girlfriends and like, let's get lunch. Let's do lunch. And all of a sudden I've had 3 lunch dates because I want to see my friends, or one of them is a happy hour, and now I'm trashed. So it's like, I have to figure out, or at least be in the mindset, because you can still go out to eat when you're eating right, but you have to make the right choice in that time. I can't be like, I'll just have a cheeseburger and then I'm out to eat the next day too, and I'm getting wings or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just having some sort of plan. And then I feel like,
yes,
for me this past year, it has been going out to eat way more than I had in the past. And then it's the alcohol thing. Not that I had like got super hammered that many times this year, but it was that when
Good job.
thank you. I got super hammered enough times to be like, oh God, I'm too old for this.
I feel you.
But it's also where I don't feel good after I drink anymore. Like I feel like I can have 2 drinks and I still just feel I have the anxiety. I feel like my heart's racing. I feel gross. I still like have a headache the next day. If not, if I don't start the hangover while I'm still drinking. But like, then I feel, for me, at least what I've been going through this year is like going out with friends and be like, well, I've deserved this because it feels good for like 2 hours in the moment. And yeah, we're having some cocktails, we're feeling good. Then I immediately feel like crap. And it takes like 2 days to dig out of it, whether I'm just drunk or not, just like drinking in general. And I'm like, and I keep doing that over and over again, knowing that it makes me feel like, that's where I feel like I'm not even listening to myself. I'm blowing right past it because I'm like, well, I need these 2 hours to like let my brain numb out. I deserve this. I earned this. And then I'm like, but now I'm just trashing myself and feel like crap. I'm like, I have to get out of this pattern. Like, this is not serving me in any sort of way. Knock it off, Amanda.
No, I'm right there with you. And I've mentioned before, when I'm hungover, I'm not going for a salad.
Oh,
like,
yeah, no.
Greasy food, you know?
Yeah.
And like, let me be lazy and let me waste my whole day because I decided to have too much fun, which wasn't even fun because I only halfway remember it. Like, just stupid.
But it's so hard.
Today,
and we're saying this, but yeah, we'll still go do it again. Like, it's, you can have this conversation, but then like give us a couple weeks and you'll be like, yeah. And then, like, for me, it's like once I get 1 or 2 drinks in and I'm feeling like woo, and then it's just like, then it goes into, and me and you were talking about this earlier, like that hard, like that. I've lived this way for so long, the all or nothing mentality, which I feel like I've done such a good job unwinding out of myself. And I can do that with food, but I can't do that with alcohol. Once I got a buzz going and I'm feeling good, it is like, then there's just no stopping me. And that until like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. And I'm like, that's where I'm like, I just don't even do it at all. Now that I can't, like, I get just having a more, I guess, a healthier relationship or a manageable relationship, not to sound like I have like a problem with it, but it's just like, I know myself. And I feel like I've regulated that a lot more over the past several years. And then this past year, it's like, no, I deserve to numb out for 2 hours. And then now I'm going to feel like trash. And I'm like, ugh.
I think I'm going to do like a November and just remove it for sure.
Take out
for November.
Didn't you do that? You and Natalie didn't that? Was that last year that you guys tried to like you tried to like drink for the whole year or something, right?
I did sober October is what I usually do, but this one's been pretty wet, if you know what I'm saying. And and I usually do like a dry January. And then like, I don't know if I read it or someone said it. However, I was like, oh, I need to quit removing alcohol completely because then I'll just go like binge drink once my month is done because I removed it. So then I didn't do a sober October this year because of probably that reason right there of trying to regulate it. But honestly, when I put out on Facebook, hey, I'm going to start this, feel free to join me. And then, you know, some people are making fun of me and whatever else, and it's not for them. I do know 2 people that don't know each other who have been completely sober because of my little like challenges or whatever.
Oh, really?
Which is so cool. Yeah. One guy's celebrating 2 years.
Oh my God.
And then this lady and her husband, I think they're coming up on 2 years as well.
Dang.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
And I'm like, wow, what if I would have been sober for 2 years? You guys are better than me.
Yeah, that's something for me. I don't think I'd want to take completely out of my life because I would like to be like, I want to have a glass of champagne if we're celebrating or something like
celebration.
that.
Or me, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Tuesday and it's 70 degrees out. I want a White Claw.
Yeah. Or like, or you know, if I go brewing, you got to have a brew with you. Like, at least that's how I feel about that stuff for me personally. It's just, I know that's been a crutch that hadn't been a crutch for me in the past this year. And then just going into, it's the nighttime stuff. It's like I'm due and I feel good making good choices all day. And then it's like when you're left to just sit there and think and stew and feel feelings. And it's like, oh, and you know what would make me feel better? Cheetos.
A whole bag.
Yeah, with some cheese balls. some ice cream, or just
No,
not
I
even
totally
junk
get
food.
it.
It's just
But I
like,
think if I do November, that'll help with
you
this
just said
little
that you didn't
kickstart.
want to go like no drinking for one whole month and not do the all or nothing thing. So which one is it?
I know. I said that's why I didn't do sober October, because I'm like, oh,
Yeah, but now
I
you're
haven't
just
been,
saying that you're going to
but
do
I
it for
need
November.
to. I need to just dry it out. That's what I got to do.
You're going to go the whole month of November without alcohol.
You think this is water, don't you? In this bottle.
You're just straight tequila.
Just drinking Tito's. No, it's water. Yeah. I'm saying for a while I was doing those like, oh, take a month off. And then my mentality shifted of like, that's not how it should be. But like, no, after last night, I think I should take a month off.
Yeah, because you're hungover right now.
A bit, yes. I'm in better shape than I was this morning. Holy cow.
Well, and that's where it's like that your birthday party is this coming weekend. And I told one of your friends that was texting me about it. I'm like, I'm not going to drink. And they're like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, oh man, because it's one of those things where it's a Halloween thing and it's a birthday party thing. And I'm like, if I do drink, I just need to make sure that I need to be in a good headspace around it, not into like, I need to tap out of my reality for a minute and I'm going to go ham.
I hear that.
I think that's the relationship that's better with food and with alcohol for me, is to get back into the rhythm of like tapping in of like, am I in a good headspace to make these decisions? And I'd say for the past several months, or for almost all of this year, I would say is all been like, no, the headspace has not been good for any decision.
Right,
or at least decisions around health and wellness or towards myself. It's been like, I'm hurting, so let me numb out with ways that I could then I'll justify of like, well, I could do so many more harmful things than be eating. Like I could be doing
I understand.
drugs.
Yeah,
I
and then
could
you're
be
like
drinking.
comparing this could be worse, but it's like, hold up. My birthday party is going to be fun. You don't need to have alcohol if you don't want. You got a costume?
I do have a costume. I got a
Are
new
you gonna
one.
share what it is?
Yeah, well, it's nothing crazy. Out of like, I have so many costumes. I have like 2 huge tubs full of costumes, and I just didn't want to repeat anything. And this one was simple because I'm going to wear this one to the Y too. I'm going to be a butterfly.
I love butterflies.
I'm going to be like a tramp stamp from the 90s.
Oh my gosh, you're going to be so cute and transformative. You're transforming.
I know. So I thought that was pretty, like, and it was just like easy and pretty, and it was on Amazon. It was an easy purchase, and that I'm like, oh, I could wear at the Y, and that's not offensive like some of my costumes from the past.
That's hilarious. You're gonna look so cute.
Thank you. So, yeah, what are you gonna be, or is that a secret?
I'm gonna be a seahorse.
Are you serious?
I was waiting for your reaction. Yeah, it's pretty random, isn't it?
Is that really what you're gonna be?
I think so. I should go get the head and put it on for you.
Oh my God! Like, where did you get this thing at? Is it like a full blown wearing a costume?
In Newport last year, there's a costume shop, like a legit, like they rent costumes out to like, musicals or something like that. So Nick and I bought some random costumes that are high quality, but they're ridiculous. And then we ended up not being those because I was Clark Harris from the Bengals, and he was a Bengal cheerleader. So we
when you got engaged.
What?
When you got engaged.
Yeah, so instead of me being engaged as Clark Harris last year, I would have been a seahorse in my engagement photos.
What was Nick? What's Nick? What was his then? If you're a seahorse, what is he? Like a merman or something? Oh, he's your lobster.
Yeah, a little lobster baby. I love lobster. Oh, it always goes back to food.
Oh my God! Like we say, well, like it could be cute too if you were a stick of butter. If he's like lobster and your butter.
Yes. What are you? I'm a stick of butter.
Well,
coolest costume ever. Hey, that might be cooler than the seahorse. Let's be honest.
I mean, I'm sure you could get one. Like, you know what? I'd take that back because you would think that Amazon would have all of these costume options, but I'm doing a thing before your birthday party for the Y. We're doing like a Halloween. It's like a trunk or treat, and
fun.
I'm emceeing a dog costume contest.
Oh,
and
cool.
So And the mascot or whatever that we have for the Y is a dog named Yappy. And
Okay.
so somebody else is wearing Yappy, and I'm like, oh, I should be a fire hydrant. And then we can join the costume contest together. And there are no fire hydrant costumes. Like, we could not find one
Really?
anywhere. If you go to Amazon, all these T-shirts that come up and said, "Pretend I'm a fire hydrant." And I'm like, what is that? Why is that there and not an actual fire hydrant? That doesn't
That's
seem like a
super
crazy
random.
costume to ask for. But I'm sure they
Yeah.
have like, Slutty Smurf or something like that. But they don't have a fire
Slutty
hydrant.
popcorn. I've seen it.
There's slutty popcorn.
There's also on Amazon not really an egg. Like you can there's like an egg that you'd make in a skillet, or you can get an inflatable. I wanted like an egg before it's cracked type, because Nick was gonna be a chicken and I was gonna be an egg, and he was gonna wear a t-shirt that said "I came first." Chicken or the egg. And definitely Babe will be wearing that one. But they didn't have an egg that we liked, so I understand. I was close to being an egg.
Instead,
Maybe
you're
the
going to be a
butter will pan out.
seahorse.
I'm gonna be a seahorse instead,
I do want to see if there's a stick of butter now, though. I could definitely be a stick of butter.
And now I'm hungry, thank you.
Yeah, well.
No, but I'm saying at my birthday party or at wherever, like if both of us, if we're in the right headspace, like you can still go out and do all kinds of things. You just got to make the best choice, like you say, like possible.
Yeah.
In that moment.
Yeah. You got to try to anyway. It doesn't always work the best, depending on life circumstances.
It's definitely difficult. I have not mastered it. So
yeah, well, and I thought I did. Yeah, and I had a good long run there of it, and then just talk about for me, like the past couple of years have just been just insane of like leaving a career, starting something new, becoming an entrepreneur, having a global pandemic hit 2 months later, going through that, starting another job, leaving that job without another job lined up, then searching for a job, finding a new job, starting a new job, throwing a huge event, and all like the while getting divorced.
Yeah. Is it a pun to say like that's a lot to chew right there?
Yeah, it's so funny because I was talking to when I started, and awesome, like I'm learning how to swim. When I started swim lessons, I was telling my swim instructor, she's like, "Oh, you're like an athlete." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "I am not in peak physical condition at all right now." I'm like, "I have gained a significant amount to me weight back about that I'm not comfortable with. I'm not feeling good in my body. I haven't been doing like exercising the way that I should." And that's what's so funny is like you go through these hard life things, and that's where like I thought for me going through all of the journey I've been on, knowing in the past of like using food and exercise to make myself feel good, of like I need something to make myself feel good. But apparently this whole like everything on piling on top of each other, where it's like I know this is the time where I need to exercise the most to make myself feel good, and it's like I just wouldn't force myself. It was just too much. It was just like my brain had no more space. And that was the thing that got kicked out. It's like,
it's easy to kick that one out.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, it's just
it's like when you get too busy, it's like, oh, I can't exercise today because I have so many other things to do, and it's just not making it a priority.
Yeah, and so I was telling her, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the thing that kind of got booted out because I just didn't have enough bandwidth with like trying to do everything else. And then she's just like, oh, when they say the scale of like all the like, the big hardest things that you could do in life, she's like, you're doing like multiple of them at the same time. I'm like, yeah, dude.
Juggling them.
I'm
like a boss.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And you're recognizing that you got to get back at it. I mean, you could just throw in a towel and be like, okay, I'm getting my divorce. I've got this new job. I'm too busy to do anything else.
No, and it's like I think it just highlights exactly why this is so important to me, why I do this podcast, and why health and wellness has completely changed my life is I recognize that I'm not feeling good, and those things are the things that make me feel good. Like learning how to swim and actually picking that up way quicker than I thought I was going to at all, of like I feel so good being able to do that. It makes me feel really strong. It's a badass workout. I'm excited now. I actually have an Apple Watch that tracks swimming, so I can
Okay.
actually see what I'm doing in the pool. I mean, I'm swimming like the past couple times I swam without a lesson. I swam a mile each time, which is a lot for me anyway. And
It sounds exhausting.
it is. And that's what's so funny is it's not even my body's exhausted. It's the breathing that just jacks me up, at least with like swimming freestyle. And so I'm like, that makes me feel so good. And I'm like, okay, like it's just building new routines after I've kind of taken a year and obliterated a lot of really big routines that I've had in my life. And it's kind of just that rebuilding. And I know how important it is for me to be eating foods that fuel my body, to be drinking water, to be moving my bodies in meaningful ways to me. And so I'm like, I have to like reestablish this career. This lifestyle that I want. And so that's where like, I knew that I just had to get through the parts where I don't have enough bandwidth for anymore. And unfortunately, that's the thing that had to get pushed out for survival. And now that room is back, that it's like these things make my life so much better. And I love my life so much better when I'm doing these things. So this has to be reestablished, which is why I am so grateful for like to have somebody like Sarah and Team Fit with me that I can go to help me with nutrition and accountability and clean eats. So I can like have the extra space now to not be meal prepping and to have like the why where I'm like learning to swim and I can swim and I can move my body. And I even had, Matt Casey from Trilogy here in Cincinnati. He came to the Y a couple days ago to help me on a project that I'm working on. And I told him, I'm like, I'm not even lifting weights right now. I'm like, it's for some reason, like that's something I've really deeply loved and for several years. And I like meathead workouts. And I'm like, I'm not even excited about it anymore. I'm like, I'm excited about swimming and that is a total body workout. But I'm like, it's sad for me that I'm like, I don't even really want to go in the gym and work out in the same ways. And he's like, that's just life. You have seasons and that there's nothing to feel bad about that.
It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah. And so I think that so many people go through this stuff and you're like, but I used to do it this way. And why don't I love this anymore? Especially as you know, like going to like Orange Theory, like so many people get into this rhythm where they're going 5 days a week and you're hardcore, something throws you off track and you're not going anymore. And then all you're just thinking about is like, well, I used to do it this way and I used to do it this much and I'm failing because I'm not doing it the way I used to. And I think getting in that mindset just totally, which I've been there so many times, just screws you up too. So it's like when life gets in the way or something happens or you're injured or whatever, it's rebuilding and you're going to have to do something new in a new way because it's never going to go back and be exactly the way it was because you've aged. Things change. You can't.
That's well said. And I think finding like how to piece it all together for exercise to go with your routine. Like I was trying to like shove workouts in when I was exhausted in the middle of the day when really my body needed a nap, but I was like, I have to go work out. I can't miss it. And I'm like killing myself because I just want to go to sleep because I wake up so early for work or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm allowed or able to go to Orange Theory in the morning before work, like game changer. But for the past 3 years, I've always gone after work because I didn't think it was possible, to get there.
Yeah.
And I was at one point trying to run at 3:30 in the morning.
That
didn't work.
no.
It did not work. Nope. On my own. So like, I think just really trying to figure out what works for you and your own schedule. And nobody can tell you that. Like you just have to learn that yourself,
Yeah. Well, and I feel like for me too, it's like also I have to remind myself like, age is just a number, but it's also like, yo, I'm 40 now. I can't do the exact same things. I know. No, I'm kidding.
Old lady.
But it's like, I can't, this body is different than it was at 30. And so it's like, I can't be telling myself like, you need to be going as hard as you were 10 years ago. It's just like, hey, that's not nature, man. Like you're still strong and you can do really hard things. But to think that I can do the exact same thing that I did 10 years ago is super unrealistic.
Yeah. You got to be like flexible and honest with yourself all the time. And I think that's what's going to be a big part of pulling Sarah back into my life. Because I feel like I have a good workout routine going down unless she tells me like maybe I'm overdoing it, which I do that often,
Yeah, you do. I know
Gotta
when I
love the
was training you too,
all-in-one.
you'd show up to train and you hadn't even like eaten and you'd be gassed out. And I'm like, do you remember? I'm like, I will not train you unless you at least eat a banana before you come in
I
here.
was gonna say you were like, eat a banana. And like 2 years ago, I was like, I can't eat a banana. There's too many carbs in
That's
it.
too much
Damn it,
sugar.
Tony.
I'm going to get so fat from eating a banana.
And now I'm like, get me chicken tenders, please. Dipped in honey mustard. It's been an interesting ride. And I'm not unhappy on my dogs again. Damn it.
You're
Boys, it's
fine.
okay.
Good.
But I'm not like unhappy, but I'm with you and like knowing that I'm not making the best decisions and just kind of trashing my bod. And I don't feel good. Like I feel tired and I feel it and I see it in pictures, my little double chin.
Well, and that's again, but for both of us, that's important that we're having these conversations. We recognize that, and it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm tired of not feeling good, so let's do something.
Back
feel
in the
better.
saddle.
How many months did you sign up with Sarah for?
I don't know.
Okay.
I paid her one time. I don't know how many months.
Did you go to teamfitwithme.com/pound this to save 10% off of month 1 of all packages and plans?
I should have.
Oh, you should have.
Maybe she honored me 10% off anyways.
Maybe. You got the friend rate there, which is anybody listening can use the friend rate there. So if anybody else that's listening to this is like, hey, I'm going to hop on the Amanda and Ashley wagon and do this thing over the next couple months before New Year's. Like,
Yeah, walking into 2023, our best self. We're not going to wait until January to be like, okay, let's get it together. No.
Nothing but
got it.
kale. 2023 kale, yeah.
Hot girl summer right around the corner.
Yeah. Dude, awesome. Well, thank you for chatting with me and being, open and honest and vulnerable about, where you're at and where we're going. And I'm excited to do updates and see where we're going.
We should actually make a physical Ashley and Amanda wagon.
And what do you mean? Like an actual, like a wagon?
With our names on it. Ashley and Amanda wagon. That'd be cute.
Haul
probably
all of
can
our
use it
beers
for-
around it, all the White Claws.
We got empty cans rolling out of it. Water bottles, girl.
Yeah, that's what they are.
Well, thank you for having me. And I'll have Officer Nick get to working on that wagon for us.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to I'll see you. I'll post pictures on my Instagram for everybody listening to this that you can pound this of Ashley as the seahorse coming up for Halloween. Awesome. Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
AmandaValentineBites.com